In a small town where everyone knew everyone, I grew up as an ordinary boy, or so it seemed. In this quaint corner of the world where the sound of church bells echoed through the cobblestone streets and where the local grocer could recite your shopping list by heart, I was just another face in the crowd. A typical boy playing catch in the park, racing bikes down the lane, my laughter mixing with the chorus of other children's voices. I was part of the fabric of this small town life, woven into its patterns of familiarity and community. On the surface, I was just like any other boy, running around with skinned knees and a heart full of youthful dreams. I was ordinary, or that's what the world saw. But beneath the surface, a different story was unfolding, one that would change my life forever. As I grew older, I began to notice something peculiar, something that didn't fit the norm. It was like a puzzle piece that just didn't seem to fit with the rest, no matter how you turned it or tried to force it into place. I was on the cusp of adolescence, a time of life where everything is a whirlwind of changes. Emotions ran high, and I was just trying to navigate this new, unfamiliar terrain, but there was this undercurrent, an odd sensation that I couldn't quite put my finger on. And then it hit me. The realization came in waves, each one a bit stronger than the last. It was like a light bulb moment. A sudden clarity that was both liberating and terrifying. The people I found myself drawn to weren't the girls that my friends were going gaga over. I was attracted to boys. It was a revelation that took me by surprise. My heart would flutter at the sight of a male classmate or the lead actor in a film. I found myself daydreaming about boys, not girls. There was a magnetic pull that I couldn't ignore, and it was towards the same gender. But with this realization came a whirlwind of confusion. Was this normal? Was I the only one? I felt isolated in my thoughts, as if I was the only one in the world experiencing these feelings. Doubts and questions swirled in my mind, a chaotic storm of uncertainty. Yet, amidst this chaos, there was a sense of relief. I finally had a name for what I was feeling. I wasn't broken or wrong, I was just different, and that was okay. I was still me, still the same person, just with a new understanding of myself. The journey of self-discovery is never a straightforward path. It's a winding road, full of twists and turns, and sometimes you end up in places you never expected. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The journey, not the destination, is what truly matters. I was standing at the precipice of a new world, a world that held the promise of self-discovery. With this new realization came great turmoil. I was in a battle with myself. This struggle was a tempest, a whirlwind of emotions that seemed to engulf me from within. It was as if there was a war raging inside me, a war between who I was and who I had been raised to be. The battle lines were drawn, not on a map, but within the confines of my own heart and mind. At the heart of this struggle was fear. Fear of being different, of standing out from the crowd, fear of being ostracized and rejected. It's a fear that's all too common, one that many of us have experienced at one point or another. But when you're grappling with your sexuality, that fear becomes amplified. It's like a constant background noise that you can't seem to drown out. But fear wasn't the only adversary I was facing. There was also the struggle to accept myself, to reconcile the person I was discovering with the person I had always thought I was. Acceptance is a powerful thing. It has the power to heal, to bring peace, to usher in a sense of belonging, but it can also be elusive, hiding just out of reach when we need it the most. This was a battle I was fighting alone. I felt isolated, like a lone warrior in a vast battlefield. I was grappling with questions that seemed to have no clear answers. Questions about my worth, my identity, my place in the world. The struggle was intense, and at times, overwhelming. There were moments when I wanted to give up, to retreat, to deny the truth that was slowly revealing itself. But every battle, every war has its turning points, and mine came in the form of hope. Hope is a powerful ally. It's the light at the end of the tunnel, the dawn that breaks after the darkest night. It's what keeps us going, what pushes us forward, even when the odds seem stacked against us. But in the midst of the storm, a beacon of hope began to shine. It was a glimmer, a spark, a promise that even in the darkest times there was a chance for a brighter future. And with that, the battle raged on, but now, I was not alone. I had hope. I began to understand that love is love, and there was nothing wrong with being true to myself. Acceptance. It's a journey that can take a while, and it's not always a straight path. But it's a journey that's entirely worthwhile. I started to realize that there was nothing wrong with me, that I wasn't broken or damaged. I was just different. And there's nothing wrong with being different. It's what makes us unique. It's what makes us human. I started to accept myself, to love myself for who I was. And it wasn't easy. I had to challenge the beliefs I'd been raised with, the societal expectations that had been ingrained in me, but I knew that I couldn't live a lie. I couldn't pretend to be something I was not. I found support in my friends. They stood by me, even when I was struggling to stand by myself. They reminded me that it was okay to be different. They reminded me that I was loved and accepted, just the way I was. Their support was invaluable to me, a beacon of light in a sometimes dark and confusing world. And slowly, I began to see that it wasn't just okay to be different. It was beautiful, that my sexuality didn't define me, but it was a part of me. A part of me that I could be proud of, a part of me that made me, me. I realized that love is love. It doesn't matter who you love, what matters is that you love. That you have the capacity to love, to care, to feel. That you have the ability to connect with others on a deep and meaningful level. And as I accepted myself, I became more comfortable in my own skin. I became more confident, more self-assured. I discovered a strength within me that I didn't know I had. A strength that came from being true to myself, from being authentic. I was ready to embrace who I truly was. Opening. It was time to let the world know who I truly was. Once I had accepted myself, the next step was to share my truth with those around me. It was a daunting prospect, to say the least. The fear of rejection, the uncertainty of reactions, and the potential for misunderstanding were all barriers I had to face. But I knew that to honor my truth, I needed to share it. First, I started with those closest to me, my family and friends. I wanted them to hear it from me, directly and honestly. I was met with a myriad of reactions. Some were surprised, some confused, but most importantly, many were supportive. They stood by me, offering their unconditional love and acceptance. It was a testament to the strength of our bonds, and it gave me the courage to continue on my journey. Yet, as with any journey, there were challenges. Not everyone was understanding or accepting. There were difficult conversations, tears, and even some relationships that sadly didn't withstand the revelation. But with each challenge, I grew stronger and more resilient. I learned to stand up for myself, to defend my identity, and to value those who valued me for who I truly was. In time, I extended my circle, sharing my truth with my wider social network, at work, and in public spaces. It was an ongoing process, one that required patience, courage, and a lot of self-love. It was not always easy, but every step was worth it. Coming out is more than just revealing one's sexuality. It's about embracing one's identity, about standing up for one's truth, and about forging a path toward authenticity. It's a journey that varies for everyone, but the destination is the same: self-discovery, self-acceptance, and ultimately, self-love. Coming out was my path to freedom. It was my declaration to the world that I am proud of who I am and that I won't hide anymore. It was a journey of courage, resilience, and love, one that shaped me into the person I am today. Closing. The journey had been arduous, but I had finally found my truth. In my new reality, I found a renewed sense of self and a community that embraced me wholeheartedly. Life after coming out was, in many ways, like stepping into the sunlight after a long and stormy night. It was a feeling of liberation, like breaking free from the shackles that had once bound me. The changes were profound, and the world seemed to have taken on a new hue. I was no longer the boy hiding behind a facade, but a proud gay man living his truth. The newfound freedom was exhilarating, like a breath of fresh air, and the sense of belonging was something I had yearned for all my life. I found acceptance, not just from the world around me, but from within myself. I found a community that embraced my uniqueness, my identity, and my journey. I had embarked on this journey as an ordinary boy and emerged as a proud gay man. This is my truth, and I wouldn't have it any other way.